Hey everybody, and welcome to another RcStash League of Legends video. This week I got for you Diana, the Scorn of the Moon. Anyway, so here I got for us today a couple things. A new room page, finally an AP champion that I could use for the jungle. Right here I have my Cho'Gath/Maokai page, but I use this for Diana, so I could rename it technically. It's magic resist per level blues. Ability power quints, attack speed reds, and armor yellows, as of course she's a jungler. If I was going to go mid with her, I would take my AP mana per level page. It's mana regen per level. It's a little misleading by the name. But that just has magic penetration reds, ability power quints, magic resist per level blues, and just mana regen per 5 yellows. So that's like a mid kind of page. I don't really play her mid that often. I usually jungle her. As I've stated in previous videos, I jungle a lot. So for Masteries with her, I like to go kind of like a weird build. I go 9-20-1-0. And I take the attack damage, the bonus minion damage, and I take the magic penetration. I know people, and obviously the champion Spotlight had stated that they go 21-9-0. You can go that build as well. I just prefer this one because you're kind of a semi-initiator with your ultimate and crescent sweep and your E. It's very good to stay a little tanky, and most of the time if you're the jungler, you're probably the first one in there, and you're probably going to tower dive a couple people. So I think this page works out really well for me, and hopefully you guys will be able to use it as well, and it might work out for you too. Okay, so for summer spells, obviously if you jungle, I like Flash Smite. I have tried Exhaust Smite. It works okay because you really have a gap closer, so the flash isn't really necessary once you hit level 6, but it is a really good escape. And if you don't have your ultimate for like a level 4 gank, flash really does work wonders. Other than that, on to her abilities. Okay, this is Diana. Obviously you can see her statistics right here. And here we have her 2 skins. Very nice skins, although Riot keeps putting out only 2. Must be building all those new champions up in the pool. Okay, so her abilities. First we have here Crescent Sweep, or Crescent Strike, which is a Q. Swings her blade to unleash lunar energy that deals damage in an arc, as you can see here. It also reveals targets along the arc, and it also damages them as well. So it's not just where you end up, it's also where the arc actually follows. So that's actually a really good ability. And for a lot of ganks on top lane, if you're going through lane, it actually works really well to go through brushes. You can actually scout with it. It's actually really a good ability. And it does a lot of damage and has a very decent AP ratio. Her next ability is her W, Pale Cascade. Diana surrounds herself with shield that has orbs, and anyone who comes close to you, the orbs will explode, doing AoE damage around you for each orb. The AP ratio is not that high, the base damage is not great, but if someone gets hit with 3 orbs and you build ability power, and they're kind of squishy, it's going to hurt. And after the 3rd orb is destroyed, you will get a shield refresh from the original percentage of the shield that you had. So it's really nice, and it's a good ability, obviously, to initiate with, because you get real kind of tanky. I level this 2nd out of all the abilities. Her 3rd ability is her E, which is Moonfall. Now, Moonfall doesn't do any damage, it just draws people in and slows them, but it's pretty much like an Orianna ult, but without the damage. It's actually a pretty broken ability, in my opinion. It's useful in terms of the utility on it is fantastic. Not having damage on it is not really that bad in terms of, because you get an Orianna ult every 20 seconds or so, and that's at 1st level. So I think they might nerf the range on this a little bit, honestly, but all in all, good ability. The slow actually increases with level as well, and if you have max cooldown reduction, I believe it's close to about 8 seconds at max level, or 10 seconds. So it's really strong. Your last ability, which is your ultimate, is Lunar Rush. Lunar Rush is pretty much like an Akali ult, except it has a 20-second cooldown, or a very short cooldown, and it lowers per level. It's very short. And if you Crescent Strike someone that has, they also get the Moonlight buff on them, or debuff, you use Lunar Rush for free. So it's actually a really good ability if you Crescent Strike, Lunar Rush, and then, because Crescent Strike is such a low cooldown, in the same fight you'd be able to do it again. So you could Lunar Rush again, and then probably a third time after that. So it's a very strong ability. The cooldown, I think, is going to be increased eventually. I don't think they're going to keep it that short. It's pretty much an Akali ult, but you have more than technically 3 charges if you do it correctly. Lastly is her passive. She gains attack speed, which is flat, and you get every third strike cleaves nearby enemies for additional magic damage. This is actually really, really strong, and what makes her very good in the jungle. It also increases by your ability power as well, which is why it's so efficient. And that's why I run attack speed res on her as well, because you want that cleave as much as possible in the jungle early game. So that's her abilities, and I just want to go over a little bit, a couple things about her that I haven't mentioned already. I think she's a very strong champion. I think that her abilities mesh well together. She synergizes well with her entire kit. Do I think she's OP? Not really. I think of her as kind of like an Akali character, but except without stealth. Also, she is kind of tanky, obviously, because of her shield. But once again, it has a cooldown. I mean, the double shield is strong when you have a lot of AP, but the thing that I kind of noticed about her is when you get a lot of AP and you build somewhat tanky, like I would build, my usual build for her would be, in the jungle, sometimes I'd build mobility boots, sometimes I build Sork boots, or sometimes, you build Merc treads. The boots don't really matter a lot, but the point is once you get GP10 items, like you get Philostone, Heart of Gold, I mean, you can go Kage pick because, I mean, she is somewhat bursty later on, and she is close in range, so DFG would actually be not too bad with her. I usually don't go the DFG. I usually go for a Rylai's Crystal Scepter or another tanky AP item. And after Rylai's, I'll get either Death Cap or I'll get Zhonya's, something along those lines. But when she does have a pretty mid-game decent amount of AP for a jungler, she does do a lot of damage, and she will burst someone down quickly, especially squishies. Tanks, not so much, but if you land one of your Crescent Strikes, you Lunar Rush them, you have your shield up already, they're taking the AoE damage, the Lunar Rush damage, the Crescent Strike damage, and your passive. So it's pretty deadly and quick burst if you don't know how to approach her. I think she might get nerfed a little bit, like I said before, with the E Moonfall. I think the radius on it might be a little too big. Just because the cooldown's too long, is too short. And I think giving a champion an Orianna ult without damage on it every 20 or less seconds is really strong. The Lunar Rush, I honestly think that that's a good ability, and I don't think it's going to be nerfed, really, honestly. I mean, the fact that you get the cooldown is really good for the Q, but don't forget, it's also skill dependent on you actually hitting the Q. So I think she has a decent skill cap, but I don't think she's... I'll say she's not like Ryze. She's not like put your face on the keyboard, but I honestly don't think she's like per se as someone who's really hard to play like Veigar. You don't really have to hit everything to really be effective. You could just... She's in between. She's a medium difficulty champion, as is seen here on the purple bar. But other than that, I think she's a great champion. I think she's worth it. Definitely, when she's free next week, definitely try her out. I'm releasing this video on her release week. And that's about it. Hope you guys have fun watching my video. And I hope to see you on the Summoner's Rift. Bye.